Imagine buying your dream home, only to discover, decades later, that beneath the floorboards and hidden within the crawl space lies a horrific secret. A 55-gallon drum, sealed tight, holding not just evidence of a crime, but the remains of a young woman who vanished without a trace. This is the story of Reyna Marroquin, a case that haunted detectives for 30 years before the truth finally came spilling out. Reyna Angelica Marroquin was born in El Salvador, full of hope and ambition. In the late 1960s, she left her home country and immigrated to the United States. Like so many who arrived in New York, she carried the dream of starting anew, building a life for herself, far from the hardships of her past. She was just 27 years old, young, vibrant, and described by friends as kind-hearted. Reyna had an energy that drew people in. She found work at a plastic flower factory in New Jersey, where her creativity and determination quickly made her stand out. Colleagues recalled her as hardworking but also somewhat shy, still learning to navigate the culture of her adopted country. But Reyna's personal life was complicated. At some point during her work at the factory, she became romantically involved with one of the company's married co-owners, Howard Elkins. The relationship was kept secret, but those close to Reyna would later say she was in love with him, and eventually, she became pregnant. For Reyna, this was life-changing. For Elkins, it was dangerous. He had a wife, a family, and a respected reputation in his Long Island community. A child with Reyna would expose everything. And Reyna, perhaps out of desperation, confided to her friends that if Elkins refused to acknowledge the child, she might tell his wife. Then, in 1969, Reyna vanished. She disappeared so suddenly that even those who knew her best assumed she might have gone back to El Salvador, or perhaps moved elsewhere in the US. The truth was far darker, and it would take 3 decades for anyone to find out. Fast forward to September 1999. A family living in Westbury, Long Island, was renovating their basement. Like many basements in older homes, it was cluttered with decades of forgotten junk. In a dimly lit crawl space, they stumbled upon a large, heavy, 55-gallon drum tucked into a corner. It was unusual, and its weight made it almost impossible to move. The family's curiosity soon turned into unease. The drum had clearly been there for decades, sealed tightly, with dust and cobwebs masking its presence. After struggling to open it, they finally